LGD picks a Rubik and they put Rubik Gyro top, do you still think Darkseer will be fine if they put IO Tiny?
Yeah, Rubik is going to be a problem, yeah.
IO Tiny beats Shadow Fiend. But they can help Shadow Fiend with Dazzle or Witch Doctor. That's actually the nice thing about Secret's lineup is that both can help in
They're actually going for the...
That's another good hero against Darkseer in lane, actually.
Yeah, you can glimpse the surge, so Darkseer has to be more careful in the lane in that regard.
I think Disruptor kind of can be a soft counter to the Grave too. We've been constantly looking for solutions to the Dazzle, and some people used to be like Doom and Glimpse. We've seen AA, but Disruptor is one of the good ones.
I think it's a very good pick in the sense that it does another two things. It does well against Quap, and he's one of the few heroes that you can stand very far behind, and you are still able to disrupt the channeling ultimate from the Witch Doctor from a safe distance, because usually Witch Doctor is very far behind as well, so it's difficult to reach him, but with Glimpse, there's always a chance that you can still cancel his ultimate.
Alright, so in this case, disregarding the fact that it is Team Secret, are we favoring LGD's draft a little bit more then? Just it seems like, of course, they had their plan not disrupted as much as Secret did in the draft.
I think it's pretty even, and in a way you could say pressure is on LGD to shut down the Shadow Fiend, I think. If they just let Shadow Fiend free farm, I think this is actually not a bad Shadow Fiend game. When he gets BKB, the LGD lineup doesn't have that hard single target damage early on, so...
Alright.
I would call it even.
Okay, well, we'll see how both teams execute it again. Game 1 of possibly the best matchup we have in Group A right now. It is LGD versus Team Secret.
TI5 itself. As far as which teams you're looking at and worried about moving forward, it's like LGD, Secret, and EG. These, to me, are the big three right now here at TI5.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe let's just see here. We're welcoming in the live stream. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Secret versus LGD. Huge match here in Group A with massive implications for the main event. Should either team win this 2-0, very likely to finish first in Group A. And with that, would get to choose their opponent in the winner's bracket. You win that one match at the main event, you're guaranteed top 6. You're guaranteed over $1 million in prize money at the International 2015. So let's get into it here. We're going to see Secret going back to their DAC picks, the Queen of Pain Shadow Fiend, the big AoE controllers, LGD, with something they ran on day one, the Tiny IO. So excited to see how this works out, and already getting ready for the rune spawns here. Seems like LGD want the bottom rune, probably going to be the ones to snag it, and it'll be Secret taking the top.
Yeah, Queen of Pain S4 gets Vigilant. Both teams were fairly defensive with their just positioning at level 1. We didn't see any kind of rotations towards the enemy jungle or any kind of early first blood attempts. So Secret especially were just like huddled by their ancients, not willing to venture out at all. But we'll see how things work out here. Arteezy going to have the rough lane against the IO Tiny, and that's where Kuro, for now, just blocking the mid lane for him, but I think we'll even see Kuro just kind of hang around and help out as much as possible.
Yeah, leaving Shadow Fiend alone against this dual lane is scary. They can just run at you, and if you're not far enough back as a Shadow Fiend, can easily give up a kill around, say, level 3 to 5. So with the Witch Doctor here, secure Arteezy's early farm, help him get that quick bottle out, and just ensure that he's able to get his early CS going. Can also go back, stack the jungle. I think it's definitely the right move here. The Queen of Pain doesn't need help, and Darkseer getting the help that he will need against the Disruptor Gyro. As we were talking about during the draft, it's a scary lane if you just leave the Darkseer alone. If he ever gets glimpsed in the kinetic field, he's dead to the Rocket Barrage follow-up. So Secret going with the dual lanes
Puppy's
here.
done his homework. He's been reading his stat stock. Got the immediate D-ward off at top lane, finding Zhao Wei. Kind of an unconventional ward spot as well. It was like right near where the big camp was, and that helps out a lot. Darkseer really loves having that big camp available, and this will make their life a lot easier. Just he's constantly harassing and keeping Zhao Wei low on HP, already forcing out multiple tangos. So this offlane seems to be good for Secret.
And so far, looking at the CS here, a good start for Team Secret, but Zai takes a pounding from the Rocket Barrage, and Sylar sending a warning shot that if you play too aggressive in this top lane, they will make a move on you. There's a Grave, there's a heal, but even through that, you can often run these heroes down, find those early kills with the combo. Got to be careful, and we should probably take a look here at the bottom lane quickly. It looks to be an S4 favored lane heavily, so Queen of Pain versus the solo Shaker. But Yao is getting his early levels, already hits 3, and definitely not expected to dominate this one, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I like that Secret's move is just to not give him any support whatsoever in the safe lane S4. They just say, look, he can crush an Earthshaker on his own. Supports helping out mid lane, helping out top lane. MM-wise, got to be a bit careful. Did get the rune, but taking quite a bit of damage here from the Arteezy harass.
Yeah, you can see a little extra investment by Secret in trying to control this middle lane. Not just the dual lane, but even bringing in that top support of Puppy on the Dazzle to either secure the ruin or at least put some harassment the way of LGD. And there has been a lot of stacking already, gods, both in the Radiant and Dire big camps. With the IO, no surprises. With the Shadow Fiend, Darkseer, also no surprises. We may not. This looks like a game that could be a bloodbath early, or could very easily just turn into a very long-term economy game with both teams really looking to maximize their farm. It's just going to come down to whether or not the teams are finding their openings.
Yeah. One of the big kind of where the forks that LGD can take is whether or not they get the Blink Dagger on Tiny. If they get any kind of an early game advantage, I think he'll go for it and try and just snowball from there finding kills. But if it really feels like it's a bit of a stalemate or Secret is slightly ahead, he'll play the farm game and look for the Aghanim Scepter as his first item. We've seen a bit of both coming out from IO Tinies, and it really depends on the tempo the game is going.
He's really not farming right now is the worry. As Avalanche comes out, won't connect on anything. Couldn't have gone even if it did with Kuro ready to back up Arteezy, but the CS on this Tiny is leaving quite a bit to be desired. Only 5 creeps. Arteezy sitting at 19-8. As expected, Queen of Pain crushing the bottom lane for S4, 19-10. And even the offlane Darkseer of Zai sitting towards the top of the CS charts, 15-1. So, dare I say it, gods, they are winning 2 lanes convincingly. And the third, they're getting more than you would normally expect out of a Darkseer offlane, thanks to Puppy's support.
Absolutely. This is where this Queen of Pain Shadow Fiend opening is so strong. I think Secret kind of took advantage of the fact that they know they like to run weak laning heroes in the offlane for Yao. Yao doesn't get the kind of dual lane support that a lot of offlaners get this tournament. He's normally down there by himself on an Earthshaker, on a Tusk, on a Clockwork, and Secret's plan was just to
early skirmish.
win the lane.
Here we go. Could be the first blood. Arteezy looking for the openings here. There is a grave available, and he's going to commit onto maybe. He finds him. Puppy protecting the Shadow Fiend, and now MMY the trade. The chase goes on, and what do you know? A surge forward. He does get glimpsed back. Shao8 will survive, but mid lane left in shambles. A 2-for-0, and on top of the early creep advantage, Secret are already in full control of this game.
Absolutely. This is close to 3 lanes won. I guess the top lane's still a bit of a stalemate and just a draw between the Darkseer and the Gyrocopter, both of which are farming. But this is going to be tricky. This is not like LGD have a lot of easy ways to turn this game around. Around the time Gyro hits level 7, you can start involving him in fights around the top rune, around the mid lane as needed. But it's not an easy hero to roam with unless you're also bringing the Earthshaker. At that point, LGD are forced to 5-man much earlier than they'd like to, and Secret will just say, well, you want a 5-man, we're going to play the economy game and just out-farm you.
And if you 5-man into Secret once they get their core items, that can easily work against you. You've got the early mech likely coming out here for Zai, maybe Arteezy the one to pick it up, but either way, they'll have some team fight in short order. And Secret keep the lane pressured mid lane. There is aggression here. Fissure coming in, Avatos, they finally get a kill. Kuroki not able to save Arteezy. That was much needed. Nice rotation from Yao, and considering how tough this bottom lane is, might as well look for the plays elsewhere. Yeah. There was a Radiant Observer ward in the areas. We're going to see a battle of D wards here, but that hill ward about to expire. It's already done its work, and well, they might get the extra 50 gold out of this. Nope, not even that. Kuro says no.
Denied. But yeah, that's the kind of place Yao likes to make in general, and it's just unfortunately at the cost of, like, there's been a solo hero getting complete free farm. Queen of Pain topping the CS charts by a big margin, so we'll see what LGD's next move is going to be. But Yao's going to want to keep on getting involved, I feel. He doesn't want to just sit idly leeching experience in this bottom lane.
You mentioned the Gyrocopter moving, and maybe we don't normally see it from Sylar is the thing. We did see it. We've seen it more with Maybe. It definitely feels like with the introduction of Maybe to LGD that Sylar has not, he's no longer really the one-position player. Maybe much more reminiscent of how Arteezy was on EG, where he might have gone mid at times and even play like the iconic solo mid heroes or dual lane mid heroes, but was really the carry player for EG. And it feels like maybe he's taken over that role, which is where you'd like to see that aggressive style of Gyrocopter this game. Get Sylar involved early, go for the smoke ganks, maybe give a support the lane top, but it's tough to do that when you see the constant pressure. And Arteezy, he's found the stacks, not only Shao8, but also a gigantic pile of creeps. This is something LGD have to protect.
Yeah.
This is way too much gold to give away. And they are moving in. With the call down onto Arteezy, they want to go, but Zai's able to zone him back. The Rays will miss. Fissure blocking off a few. They try to isolate Kuro, but they can't bring him down. The heal is enough. He survives. One less range creep auto attack. Can't get the job done. There's your earn charge. He
LGD
will
need
survive.
They're
5-manning their own neutrals, and they need it, but it's too late. Arteezy's already stolen half of them, and he's going to get more. Only 2 big creeps survive the slaughter. here. They need Arteezy. Ava, toss, Fissure, they get the kill. S4 even blinks into it, but the Queen of Pain ult to turn it. Maybe. Neutral's not poking him. He barely makes his way out of this one. And Sylar does find S4 on the backside. They get the 2 fattest cores on Secret. They do miss most of the neutral kit, but at least get some experience. That was definitely a salvage for LGD out of what looked like a terrible situation.
Absolutely, and you can't even, like, that's the right play to go for Secret. Arteezy in the front lanes, if they get the Grave off, that doesn't go as one-sided as it kind of ended up going in LGD's favor. It was very much the burst damage of LGD just catching Puppey a little bit by surprise and a rare miss on the Grave. Arteezy was, I think, banking on having it to back him up there, and
if he gets Grave there, they get slaughtered, honestly.
He can continue to, like, his raises were coming up any second, so during that Grave, he's throwing 2-3 raises, and LGD are losing heroes.
Well, LGD, this game could have snowballed totally out of control, but they are able to stay in it with that fight, and they make it a pretty close game. 1,000 gold lead for Secret, only about a 1250 experience lead, and so much of the game plan is going to hinge on maybe what's the item build here. For now, he picks up the completed treads, it looks like, bringing out the magic wand as well for MMY in short order. But does he skip the blink at this point? There's a lot of squishy targets, but they're going to get tankier quickly. The Shadow Fiend normally getting some plus stats items early, and potentially we even see S4 go for that early BKB or Ags, and at which point the blink could backfire. If you don't get those kills, you may not really get much value out of it.
Now, TZ already committed to the Yoga Club, so he'll be rushing BKB with Zai being able to go for the mech, and as you said, they're looking for early stats, early just survivability, and that's where a Blink Dagger on Tiny will kind of come maybe at a time where it's not going to be able to get the easy kills that you'd hope for.
He's not snowballing by any means, but let's go. Secret, their turn to move. They smoke up, Arteezy leading the way, and they think about heading straight towards the bottom lane. Instead, they're going to wrap around here, moving towards the Roshan pit. May try to get a ward up. Yao very low HP, and should he go down, that is the majority of their strong tower defense gone. Just the Ancients warded for now.
Okay.
We've seen a lot of teams forget about the Ancients. There was a couple of games that come to mind. Secret was playing one game where Arteezy was Templar Assassin, the Dire side, farmed a quad stack with a double damager, and suddenly was totally out of control. I believe that was the game where he had an Aegis and got a triple kill after respawning with like a single Deso Daedalus crit. So a couple Bristleback games as well. Ancients are definitely something you want to keep an eye on here. And it might seem like a big commitment using the smoke for that, but considering there's a Tiny Wisp and a Gyrocopter in this game, may allow Secret to pull ahead if they're just looking to play the farm game here.
And also the fact they didn't put the ward above the Roche pit on that big cliff means they don't really care about pushing this bottom tier 1 tower, because they could have easily put that ward down and used that vision advantage over the trees, over the bottom tier 1 to apply pressure down here, but Puppey even had 2 wards, so he could have blocked the Ancients and warded. It says, nope, we don't care about it. We're going to play our game, sit back, wait till we get our items, and then use our item advantage to be able to take down towers with an Orchid on Queen of Pain, with a BKB on SF. They're not going to rush things.
It's LGD's turn to smoke. They bypass the double damager, and there's no Radiant Vision of it, so they could have gone for it, but they didn't realize. As Zai narrowly misses breaking the smoke, he is going to, but it's in an awkward position. Fissure comes through. He's on the right side of it, but doesn't matter. Too much burst damage. Meanwhile, mid lane, MMY's Aya was picked off by Arteezy as the trade.
Yeah, they went in on
the Witch Doctor.
Yeah.
So 2 for 1.
Io Tiny killed Witch Doctor, Queen of Pain TP'd in and got a counter kill.
They want Arteezy. Emma maybe just jumping forward. He's going to get the toss back into Sylar. That's
combo.
not where you want to be if you're a Shadow Fiend. Oh, into his waiting arms. A hail of rockets will end Arteezy. LGD showing some excellent aggression here and making up for a slow farming laning stage with some really nice movements here at the 11-minute mark.
Yeah, kills on Shadow Fiend especially valuable. He's topping the net worth chart well over like about